Hi there. So I'm going to try to get a webisode out. I've had a lot come up. My kids have keep getting sent home for 10 days at a time because of coughs, and that makes filming hard. Then it's like my social media accounts keep getting shut down, and that depresses me. This one is going to be what is magic. Now, these are just my own personal views, and I've looked up some etymology and things like that. As with anything that I post, I'm not out here sitting trying to push my views on someone else or to make you, to order you and say, you have to think this. We're all trying to piece together a puzzle of the big picture here. And if you realize that we've been lied to and you realize how much this puzzle is scattered everywhere, it's just important to take in information and pursue the things that resonate with you, the things that stick with you, or the things that you just, that keep coming up or you can't get out of your head, or that's what you pursue further. And that goes with any information, not just something that I post. But I've just asked that you listen with an open mind and know that I am not trying to push anything on you. If you don't agree, that's totally cool. I do, like when I can have discussions with like-minded people. So I got to put my views out there so that people can see what I think. Anyhow, all right. So what is magic? Movies often depict magic as silly, childish, and unrealistic. Waving a wand around and objects appearing out of the sky is not going to happen in a third density reality. Instant manifestation is not what magic is. Magic is the direction of energy to assist a practitioner in manifesting his or her intentions using repetition and ritual. Intention is key when it comes to magic. Spells themselves or the spell casting itself is not good or evil. It is the intention behind the words and the spell that determines whether a spell is black or white, bad or good. I am not a big fan of all these labels, but some of these labels is what you will discover when you are attempting to research magic. So, now the word magic. In the late 14th century, magic meant the art of influencing or predicting events and producing marvels using hidden natural forces, also supernatural art. Now, this is the original definition for magic in English, and I find that important because the alphabet is sigils. Sigils are part of magic. Sigils are sacred symbols made using sacred geometry felt to have supernatural power. And when you assign the definition to a word, that is essentially like, assigning a spell to a sigil, assigning an intention to a sigil. So no matter how you change the definition throughout time, it's going to stick with that original definition. That's my view. Anyhow, so the word magic ultimately comes from the Proto-Indo-European root mag, meaning to be able or to have power. It indicates that we should look at the word druid here, so I did look up druid. And a druid is one of the order of priests among the ancient Celts of Gaul, Britain, and Ireland. And druid means strong seer, and it means true. It comes from the Proto-Indo-European root deru, meaning tree, and wid, to know. So literally, they who know the oak. This could be in relation to the tree of life. There is some Norse mythology, if I'm not mistaken. Is it the Norse or is it the Celts? Where all of the heavens the tree of life goes through all of their realms. And those of the tree are the ones that have the most power. But I don't know. The Druids, as far as I know, one of the oldest practitioners of magic there is in, known to man. And black magic is, basically seen as evil or bad. And the way that I would define black magic is any spell that takes away the free will of another person, or that attempts to have the universe bend to the will of the practitioner versus the practitioner bending to the will of the universe or going with the flow of the universe, is black magic. White magic would be magic that is attempting to help the greater good, assist the earth for the betterment of oneself or another, works with the flow of the universe. Black magic does not care if harm is done to another, while white magic attempts to do no harm. Whether or not a spell is going to work has to do with the spiritual level of a practitioner and how well the spell was done. And it also has to do with the spiritual higher level of a spirit. Like, life is life, and we're all equally as important, okay? As far as to the Creator, we are all a fractal of the Creator, and we're equally as important. No one is more important than the other. However, due to soul age and different experiences and things like that, there is a hierarchy of spiritual knowledge, if you will. And there's a hierarchy of spiritual protection, it seems, as well. The more knowledge you have, the more protected you are. So, for example, if, say, you're trying to cast a spell on someone that is just incredibly spiritually protected by their ancestors and just maybe an ancient old spirit, but they're completely clueless and still under this spell. And you may be like wide awake and know exactly what's going on. But if you're casting a spell on somebody that is in a higher spiritual level than you, it's likely going to come right back on you, or it's going to backfire. You also don't know, when casting a spell, who has protections in place. Anyone that wishes ill will upon me or my family, please send it back to them exactly what they wish, threefold. You don't know who has certain intentions in place, and intention is everything. I wouldn't personally advise casting any spells that have any ill will. I mean, that's just not me. I personally feel that spell casting creates karma, and granted, if we get out of the matrix, if we manage to make it out, and actually get out of here, it's not going to matter about karma. However, if we don't succeed and end up being recycled again and having to stay in this program, your karma does matter. And I don't want to incur a bunch of bad karma. I'm trying to get out of here, or at least if I'm stuck in here again, I'm trying to get, a good life. So, okay, so older souls from higher dimensions will likely have more spiritual protection and energy behind their intentions versus a lower vibrational spirit. High frequencies do outweigh lower frequencies. Love does conquer all. I mean, an act of kindness does cancel out many acts of negativity. Now, many practitioners of magic works with gods and goddesses, and I am very leery of this practice, or working with gods and goddesses. Especially any type of energy that will not work with you unless you leave it gifts. I feel as if many of the beings that we humans have deified could potentially be malevolent, artificial intelligence, energy harvesting, energy vampires, even tulpas, thought forms, not even actually in existence. Just no divine spark in them whatsoever, and they are using our energy to stay alive. stay in existence. It wouldn't be alive, I guess. But you know, and then there's also, now as far as gods and goddesses are concerned, I also think that there are likely some beings that came down here to help humanity as like ascended masters, things like that. And humans, being the way that we're programmed with a reptilian brain, and we seek a master, the humans themselves may have lifted these people up on pedestals, whereas they may not have wanted worship. Buddha and Jesus, so, you know, actually come to mind for that. Now, as far as Jesus goes, there was no man named Jesus Christ. I mean, the etymology and all that stuff, I mean, those words weren't in existence. I mean, that was not his name. There was an ascended master that left that message, and if you solely depend on the Bible for his message, you're not getting most of the message. You're only getting a small portion of it. And we don't even have access to all of the message. But if you read the Gnostic Bible, the Nag Hammadi, the regular Bible, and there are some other like copper scrolls and a couple other texts, you get a much larger picture of the message of the Ascended Master that some say is Yeshua HaMashiach. I don't know. I don't think the name is really important. It's the message that matters. But anyhow, that being didn't want worship, okay? But the Bible is a black magic spell. It was originally called the God spell. And then God spell was changed into gospel. And there's also some God is good. That is one of those play on words. In Old English, good and God were the same word. You know, I don't know. I do not resonate with the God in the Bible being good per se. But that's also not our Supreme Creator. Our Supreme Creator is well high, way above this place. And, yeah, the Father of the all. Okay. So, discernment is key. You know, if you are inclined to work with gods and goddesses, just, you know, keep in mind, you know, just think about intention. I mean, what do they really want from you? Are they harvesting your energy? Are they distracting you? Or are they benefiting you somehow? If the benefit that they are giving is to help fulfill spells that are causing harm or chaos in this reality, is that truly a benefit? Just, you know, really look at your actions. It is the intuition that will not lie to you, the heart and the gut. And the mind can and will lie to you. And the intention of mind control programming is to sever the mind from the gut and heart brain. In order to strengthen your intuition, pay attention to the very first thought you have about a person, as crazy as it may seem, and then your brain will recognize when those first thoughts are correct. And as it notices it happening more, that intuition gets louder, and as you begin to trust it and follow it, it works much better. But connecting with the intuition is very important for anything. I mean, you know, we really have been severed from our mind really has been severed from our heart and gut connection. One of the things that I also do is you will catch me say I feel instead of I think. And I do that to run information through the heart center versus the head, because the heart center is not going to let you like spit out lies. Okay, now we all practice magic. You may not know it, but you do. For example, right now, anytime you put on a face mask, you are participating in a pagan initiation ritual to bring in the New World Order. And the thing about participating in a ritual is even if you don't like consent to a New World Order, your participation is giving that consent. Anytime you speak out loud, you are casting a spell. Words are spells. Now, why is it that the church condemned the use of magic? It couldn't be that they don't want people figuring out what they're doing to us, and they don't want anyone using their own craft against them. They also don't want people to realize that the Bible is a ritual blood magic spell book mixed with some of the message of an ascended master. So what exactly is a spell? A spell is a story, saying, tale, history, narrative, fable, discourse, or command. It is from the Proto-Germanic spellum, which means a report, discourse, fable, or myth. An utterance, something said, a statement, a remark. So a spell is a set of words. At its root, to spell is to say aloud or to recite or to work in place of another. The term spell is generally used for magical procedures which cause harm or force people to do something against their will. But broadly speaking, I mean, a spell is literally just uttering words. So what does cast mean? Because we're said to cast a magic spell. What does cast mean? Cast means to throw violently, fling, or hurl. It comes from replaced Old English warp, which warp means to bend, twist, or distort. So to cast a magic spell is to bend, twist, or distort, or have the power to influence events using hidden natural forces by reciting or saying things out loud. So we're distorting events, twisting events or information with hidden natural forces by reciting or saying things out loud. Well, interesting. Or maybe to use distorted hidden natural forces to influence events using reciting and repetition. So based on the definition, of spell, anytime we speak out loud, it is a spell. And we are using words with distorted meanings a lot of the time too, which isn't helpful. Now with ritual magic and sigil magic, there is an intention set or assigned to the sigil at the creation of a spell. And I was talking about this earlier. The original intention stays even if one changes the meaning later. And so I feel that the same would be true of English words. So even if they mean something new today, they really mean the original definition. The word nice is a really good example. The word nice originally meant foolish, ignorant, frivolous, or senseless. Careless, clumsy, weak, poor, needy, simple, stupid, or foolish. But today it's said to mean agreeable or delightful, kind, and thoughtful. So but based on what I'm saying, when you say that was nice of him, you would actually be saying that's foolish or senseless of him instead of that is agreeable of him, because you're really using the original definition. And that's how we're casting distorted spells on ourselves. That's one way. A lot of times we use these words and we think that they mean something, and that's not what they mean. Let's take the word needle. To need comes from the word naughty, N-A-U-T-I, which means death. And then L-E or E-L on the end of a word means God. So needle could mean death of a god. I mean, it can get deep, and there are a lot of ways that you can, there are a lot of different ways that you can split up these words or discern these words or dissect these words and get multiple meanings. And the thing is we don't truly know the original intention with the words. I mean, whoever created the language is who knows the intention. orally, many of these words sound the same, and so are casting the same spell. Pray and pray, I and I, you and you. When doing sigil work, the vowels are removed as well, and I find that interesting. A vowel could be a vow to El, and El is the Elohim, or Yaldabaoth, the archons, the demiurge, basically the malevolent creator that is imprisoning creation spirits in this reality and harvesting us for our energy. Now, I myself am not a witch. People assume that I am. Do you know what makes somebody a witch? Declaring that you are one. That's all. Saying that you are or aren't. Now, I do many witchy things by nature, and I kind of feel that a lot of it is soul memory, or, cellular memory of being a very old soul. I, likely was a healer and a witch in other lives, but witches are misunderstood. I mean, a lot of times, an herbalist may be considered a witch as well. And I mean, basically, when they condemned witches or anyone that they didn't need in the system, anyone that they didn't like doing something. I question why the Vikings have such a terrible reputation. It's kind of looking like, I've been doing some research, and it's kind of looking like they traveled the world and actually tried to spread knowledge and assist people instead of being the savages that we are told. And that was, of course, shut down. And the Vikings also could have been the remnants of the Phoenicians. But anything that is condemned, anything that is condemned in the official narrative, I mean, oh, they're bad, they're, this and that. I mean, look into that, because there is a reason. History is written by the winners. Now, and this whole system is run by the Holy See, the Vatican, the Yaldabaoth. If you do the gematria on Yaldabaoth and the Holy See in like 5 ciphers, it's a perfect match. There is a YouTube channel called Decode the Matrix that does excellent gematria work. And yeah, I mean, the odds of that are just exponential. It's the same entity, essentially. Now, let's look at magic in the Christian religion for a second. Many people like to argue that there is no magic in the Bible, not knowing that many practitioners of dark magic only use the Bible as their spell book. It is full of blood magic. The God spell is one of the most powerful spells in this realm. And, I'm actually going to tell a little story here. This house, my mom's house, burnt down in 2009. Total loss. The fire started out in the living room, near the coffee table. Not on it, but very near it. There was a Bible on the coffee table. And that Bible survived that fire without any damage, except some soot on the outside. Nothing, no pages, nothing was burnt. Not a word damaged. Okay. The coffee table was gone. But the Bible was still sitting there solid. Now, I've heard that the Bible is a living, breathing thing. Now, just because it survived that fire does not mean it is benevolent, but it does indicate some supernatural type of power. I mean, people are like, well, maybe there was a varnish put on it. Well, that's one hell of a varnish. I mean, that thin paper, it's weird. Okay. So, the God spell is one of the most powerful spells in this realm. And in the practice of conjure, the Holy Bible serves many purposes, such as being a tool for divination, a potent talisman, and a source of spells, as well as prayer. The book of Psalms is nothing but short spells. Now, followers of Jesus were supposed to regularly engage in a mystic ritual whereby they emulated drinking his blood and eating his flesh. It's called communion. And at communion, you eat a piece of bread and drink a small vial of grape juice or wine. You're supposed to pretend you're eating Jesus. Why, indeed, would any rational person knowingly engage in ritual blood drinking and flesh eating as part of their faith. Do just a tiny bit of research into satanic rituals, and you'll find they are all about ritual sacrifice of the body, preferably someone young, virgin, and pure. When casting a spell, practitioners cast a circle around themselves to cast the magic in. And this circle often invokes the 4 elements. There is a circle cast around this realm. The 4 cardinal directions: north, south, east, and west. And if you go, northeast, northwest, southeast, southwest, it casts a circle, okay? And each, in a circle that is spellcast with magic, each point in the circle stands for one of the elements. The 4 cardinal directions each match with one of the elements. And north, east, west, and south spells news. And coincidence or pre-planning? Anyhow, I am proposing that the circle cast around this realm is the 4 cardinal directions, and the magic takes place inside of it, here where we live. A couple other things I'd like to point out before I end this. I once heard it stated that magnetism is unnatural to this realm, and for some reason that really stuck with me. And if you take the word magnetic, you can rearrange that into a magic net, and like the firmament, formanet. And I just wonder if magnetism has something to do, and magic has something to do with how our divine sparks were pulled into this prison in the first place. Now, I, do lean towards that all of physical reality, atoms is what, and atoms, just all of matter, when we say something doesn't matter, like it's not important, like the only thing that is important is matter. I think it's matter that is keeping us enslaved here, and a lot of that goes back to these same gods, these same Anunnaki gods. You have Amen at the end of every prayer, and that's for Amun Ra. Adam is Atum, which is Atum Ra. Ra's the sun god. The sun and the moon act as a battery, act as like cathodes and anodes. They could also be reflecting something. I feel there could be something in the center of the realm that they're reflecting. It's just so terrible that we're not allowed to actually explore our world. So we don't really have accurate maps, and we don't really have an accurate depiction of what we're actually even living in. But prayer makes one pray. Speaking prayers aloud in, this magical world circle allows for any energy to prey on your innermost desires. So that's pretty much all that I have for my notes here. I have come to the conclusion that this realm is run by magic, if you will. We are magical beings, and the act of us repeating our thoughts, words, and desires will manifest them into reality. Depending on one's spiritual power is maybe whose wishes get granted first. I do appreciate everyone that has supported me, everyone that has managed to keep finding me after my accounts keep getting shut down, and I appreciate it. And I do have a Patreon that is $5 a month, and I do read books and do webisodes. I hate to charge people for it, but I've really got to figure at this point, I keep getting shut down. Somebody is like mass reporting me or intentionally trying to get me shut down. It's like somebody personal or something. And so, like, at least if I'm charging somebody $5 and they're willing to pay that to view me, I mean, at least they're probably not hating on me. What does this world come to? But anyways, I really do appreciate everyone's support, and have a great day.